name. Now, we started this talk yesterday. We're going to try and complete it today. I love to learn, and I know you love to learn. This is the African history class, and my name, Blakk Rasta. This is the African proverb of the day. Now, every country in Africa has a set of proverbs. So, our African proverb is coming up, and my guest is going to give us a proverb from Rwanda. Matthew Rwahigi. Please.
Rwahigi.
Rwahigi. Oh my God.
Blakk
I love
Rasta.
that name. Matthew Rwahigi. There's no mana added to your name.
No.
Rwahigi mana.
Do you know what mana means?
It means God.
Yes.
Wow.
So Rwanda is a country that is that believes in God.
Yeah.
So we believe. Well, there's a saying in Kinyarwanda that God lives, which interpreted would mean God lives, God spends the day elsewhere but sleeps in Rwanda.
Oh, so. Beautiful. This is the African proverb of the day. Matthew Rwahigi is going to give us a proverb from Rwanda. Give us any proverb from Rwanda.
Okay. Do you want it in Kinyarwanda?
In Kinyarwanda, yes.
Okundinha aryama nkayo.
Beautiful. Say it again, please.
Okundinha.
Okunhinga.
Okunda inha.
Inkongoda hinga.
Aryama nkayo.
Aryama nkayo. Oh my God.
Do you want an interpretation?
Please do interpret it for us.
So, because cattle is very close to our hearts in Rwanda. We love cows.
Cows. Ah.
So we say, if you love cattle, you sleep like them. So if you love something, you really get close to it.
Wow.
So unless you really tend to the thing, it will skip between your fingers.
What?
So you have got to love. If you love the thing, you get close to it. So the whole interpretation is, if you want something, then
get close to it.
Tend to it.
What?
Tend to it.
What? If you love something, be like it. Turn yourself into that thing. This is the African history class, and my guest is Matthew Rwahigi. Oh my God, he's coming from Rwanda, and we're going to have a beautiful conversation. So Matthew, yesterday you told us what Rwanda means, and then you told us the founders of Rwanda, and then we went into some very interesting things about Rwanda. Now, I just got to know, let me pretend that I just got to know that Rwanda is also known as the land of 1,000 hills. Is that correct?
Well, I think whoever gave it the name underestimated the number of hills because there are quite many. In my mind, there are quite many. Yeah, but yes, indeed, it's called the land of 1,000 hills.
Right.
So why do they call Rwanda the land of 1,000 hills? Now, you see, we are a patch of land that is very scenic. So when you come to Rwanda, you won't be trying to go somewhere to find scenes to watch or to look at. There's quite enough of the scenery. Wow. Because everywhere you look, there are meandering hills, and valleys, and of course the grasslands and the grasslands of East Africa. So it was because of the hills, and if you're not used to hilly topography, when you come to Rwanda, you will have to, put on your boots and get used to some good walking so that you can catch the weather of such higher altitudes.
Woo! Yes. Now, recently, it came on the internet all over the place. I don't know if it was true or lies, that Rwandan women are the most beautiful women in the whole of Africa. And they are looking for men from all over Africa to go to Uganda and marry them. Rwanda. Is it true?
So Rwandans are looking for men to come from all over Africa to go and marry Rwandan women. I think that one you know the answer. At least for now you know me better. So well, if you ask me,
yes,
I was born by a Rwandan woman.
Wow.
I am married to a Rwandan woman. So if you ask me if Rwandan women are beautiful, I'll tell you there's none better.
This is 3FM.
Did you hear that? Oh my God, I saw some photos of some beautiful Rwandan women. Producer, get me some photos of some Rwandan women, yeah? Very hot and very sexy Rwandan women. And I wanted to find out, are all Rwandan women like, those women, do they all look tall and light-skinned, or there are some who are really dark, like Zulus?
I think Africa comes in all colors. We come in every color, in every shape. So in Rwanda, you will find an African of all kind of sorts. We are, and we often say, and I think this is a saying I'm very fond of. I always say, yes, we say Ghana is the gateway to Africa. Rwanda is the heart of Africa.
Interesting.
Now, if you get to the heart, if I was to cut to your heart a Blakk Rasta, I'll find every bit of who you are in your heart, because it pumps all the blood. So every blood comes back to the heart. So there's a mix of everyone in Rwanda. So every shape and every color. So I don't think you can say that a certain society can have one kind of people looking one way. Every society has a variety of people looking different ways.
Differently. Okay.
Yes.
No two ways about that. My guest is Matthew Rwahigi. He's my guest, and we're having a beautiful conversation. Now, Matthew, according to statistics, Rwanda is supposed to be one of the poorest countries in the world. You know, Ghana is rated 73rd when it comes to global economies, and Rwanda is about 145th. It means it's far from Ghana. Now, you have tasted the two countries, Rwanda and Ghana, which is more beautiful in terms of infrastructure?
I think comparing is not very easy. I think you would need to first of all look at the historical perspectives that we are looking at.
Right.
And of course, statistics are statistics, and indeed, in so many ways, Rwanda is still poor. There are so many things that we are still working on. But in so many ways, a lot has changed over the last 30 years. Now, if you were to look at Rwanda and Ghana, Ghana became independent in 1957.
Yes, that's true.
And at the time of independence, Ghana was, if I would use the word Ghaning, everybody was rallying around becoming more unified.
Yes.
To put every effort together so that we can build one single country that is powerful. In 1959, while you were already working, or actually let me take the same year, 1957, when you were working on unifying yourselves, getting independence, back home in Rwanda, we were dividing ourselves.
Oh my God.
We were getting more divided. In 1957, the last king of Rwanda, if I would put it that way, Mwami Rudahigwa Mutara wa gatatu. So that's when he was assassinated by the Belgians. That's what we believe. So he was killed. He died in very mysterious ways in 1957. So while Ghana was unifying to work towards a strong, as you call it, Black Star of Africa, right? We were getting more divided. In 1959, that is when we had the first genocide in Rwanda.
1994?
1959.
59?
That was the first beginning of genocide in Rwanda.
Did you hear that?
So there was a targeting of people, the Tutsi of Rwanda. They were targeted. Their homes were burnt down. Thousands of them were. I think the estimate is about 24,000 of people were killed during that time, and so that began the whole season of exodus. A lot of Rwandans left home. They fled to neighboring countries, and over the 30 years that followed, 30 plus years until 1990. They all stayed outside the country, trying to, rally themselves around to come back home, negotiate politically and everything. So when we talk about infrastructure, and you ask me to compare Ghana and Rwanda, I wouldn't want to do the comparison because we are coming from different backgrounds.
Backgrounds, yes.
And I believe,
and histories,
I believe every time we do comparisons, it's not the best for Africa.
Okay.
Because we come from these different kind of circumstances.
This is 3FM.
His name is Matthew Rwahigi. Okay, a friend of mine just returned from Rwanda. And he told me, hey, and he's white. He said in Rwanda, it's very difficult to bribe a policeman. In Rwanda, they are fighting corruption so seriously. If you try to bribe a policeman, you are in trouble. I mean, all over Africa, apart from North Africa, maybe South Africa and a few other countries, police people are so bribable, even in Ghana. Is it true that police in Rwanda is difficult to bribe, or did they lie?
Well, I can't speak for the guy. I don't know whether he lied or not, but what I can tell you is that corruption it has zero tolerance in Rwanda. Every sort of corruption, not even just the police guy. Let's not even target the police guy. Corruption as corruption is zero. There's zero tolerance for that. Why? A very simple act of accepting a small bribe today indicates the decadence at which someone has reached. So it's not about just the bribe they have picked. There's a certain long track of things that have gone wrong for someone to get to the point of taking a bribe instead of doing what they're expected to do by law. So our police in Rwanda, your interaction with police is very limited, really.
Wow.
Yes, because and I'm assuming that you're talking about traffic police. For instance.
Yes, traffic police.
Your kind of interaction with traffic police is very limited. When traffic police stops you, they will ask for specific things. They'll ask for your driving permit. They'll ask for the roadworthy, the equivalent of roadworthy in Rwanda. They will ask for the documentation of the car. Now, if they were to fine you, they will not fine you for you to go and meet them somewhere. No, you get a message on your phone. So wow. It's electronic. So they'll fine you, you get a message on your phone. Now, when they stop you, oftentimes, most of the crimes that we all commit on the roads, or the traffic offenses that we commit, they are overspeeding, or maybe misuse of road markings and stuff like that. This was supposed to be a zebra crossing, and you come and you just rush through and all that. Now, when that happens, for most of these offenses, they are picked by cameras. They are not humans. So you overspeed beyond this speed limit that is given to a certain location. The camera picks your car. They'll snap the camera will snap the number plate, and you receive a message on your phone. You have a fine of this much, and you will go and pay the fine. You have nothing to do with the police guy. There's no interaction between you and the police guy.
Interesting.
So the chances for you to start finding ways of trying to negotiate with him on what to do, they are very limited. Extremely.
Interesting.
Yes. But
interesting.
Over the last 30 years, this has been an intentional effort.
How about bribery and corruption generally in Rwanda?
Exactly.
Bribing officers, maybe trying to bribe your way into a school with false certificates and all that. How is it? Is it rife?
So, like I said, it's not even just about traffic offenses and police and all that. There's zero tolerance for corruption. As anything to do with corruption. There's zero tolerance, even moral corruption. So when you do things that are wrong, you face the law for what you have done. You don't have a lot of shortcuts to make and a lot of meanderings to make, because the law is very clear, and whoever is supposed to enforce the law will enforce the law. Now, even in the other areas of life, school, as you mentioned, talk about access to government services. Right now, we have more than 100 plus public services that are accessible online. So you have nothing to do with interacting with public officials. If you want a birth certificate, you go online on irembo.org.rw and request for your birth certificate and get your birth certificate. You want a passport, you will go to the same place. Apply for the passport. You will only go to the immigration office to take your biometrics. Nothing else. You come to the embassy only to take biometrics. So your interaction with the public official or with the public servant is limited to only when you need to interact with them. And when you go there, it won't be to bribe them, because there's a clear activity that has taken you there.
Right.
So I think those are some of the things that have happened over the years. So when you look at the statistics, as we were saying, Rwanda is ranked very low on the corruption index.
What?
The Transparency International Corruption Index.
This is 3FM.
Did you hear that? Oh my God, have mercy. How were you able to do this?
Like I said, I think everything is about intentionality. If you want to achieve something, there's nothing that is out of reach. Did you hear that? So intention and leadership, of course. We have been, we have had the pleasure and the grace of being led. I would put it that way. Over the last 30 years, more so over the last 20-something years, under the leadership of President Paul Kagame, we've had the chance of being led right. And of course, people also following the leadership. Because you can lead, but there's also the need for people to follow the leadership you're giving them. So over the last 25 years, we have had people follow leadership. We have had leadership really put people at the center. So in Rwanda, we have the slogan that has kept on governing what we do, Umuturage kwisonga, which means citizens are the center. So everything we do, Umuturage kwisonga.
Whoa, that's beautiful.
So the whole idea is that whatever choice of activity you want to do as a public servant, whatever policy you want to put in place, how does it benefit the least among you.
This is serious.
How does it benefit?
So it's a human-centered country.
Exactly.
It's a country that is looking at the human beings of the nation, the human beings, human-centered country.
That has been the policy.
Paul Kagame, talking about Paul Kagame, I mean, this is a man who a lot of people admire. I admire him too. I mean, from when he became the leader of the nation in 1994, if I am correct. My brother, he's been able to drive the country into so many, good areas. Many have praised him. Of course, everybody has enemies. What is the record of human rights in Rwanda? I've read about musicians killed left, right, and center. Some got missing in prison, and so on and so forth. And some people believe that these were people against the government of Kagame. I'm not looking for you to make a political statement, but generally, I mean, what's the human right record like?
President Kagame became president in 2000. Just correcting the numbers. So he became president in 2000. Before that, he was vice president and minister of defense. And then he was elected into office in our first general election in 2003.
Okay.
Now, when you talk about human rights.
So who was the leader from 1994 after the genocide?
There was another president, Pastor Bizimungu.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he led from 1994 in the government of national unity until 2000. Yes. So now, when you talk about human rights and all that, to be honest with you, I think sometimes we get some of these concepts in the wrong way, in the wrong perception. Because what is human rights? First of all, I believe, and I'm sure you would agree with me, human rights are human. Nobody has more human rights than other humans, right? And nobody knows which are human rights more than other people.
That's true.
So you know what human rights are. I know what human rights are.
Right.
And those human rights are for humans, which means they are for Rwandans, including the same person you're mentioning right now.
Right.
This is 3FM.
So it is important that we understand that nobody is there to harm themselves. And for us as Rwandans, when we look at the last 25 years of our lifetime as a country, there has never been a time where Rwandans have lived in the best environment as we are today.
Wow.
Because all statistics that you will look at, and I think you started off with that yourself,
yes.
All the statistics you will look at, they will point to the direction that we have made significant progress.
That's true.
Now, how can that progress be happening in an environment of abuse of human rights?
I understand.
When the progress is made by the humans. So if the humans are being abused, how can they make progress? Because the progress can't happen unless the humans are really able to do the work they are supposed to do for them to progress. So I believe sometimes the concepts are misinterpreted because of the agenda of whoever is putting
This is 3FM.
His name is Matthew Rwahigi, and it's all the way from Rwanda. We having a beautiful conversation. I can't wait to go to Rwanda. Yes, I want to go to Rwanda.
You haven't been to Rwanda?
Not yet, unfortunately. So sad.
Now, I think you should be getting on the next flight. Rwanda Air flies here 4 times a week.
And I don't need a visa.
You don't need a visa. Because Rwanda, as far as we are concerned, every African is an African. Before you're Ghanaian, you're African. Before I am Rwandan, I am African.
My God.
So it's home for every African.
Did you hear that? You don't need a visa to go to Rwanda. When you arrive in Rwanda, you get a visa on arrival. Oh my God. This is Paul Kagame's Rwanda.
And if you're Ghanaian, you get it free.
Did you hear that?
This is 3FM.
And Ghanaian men who love Rwandan women is your biggest opportunity. All right, so Matthew Rwahigi is in the house. And I want to ask you this other thing. Now, Rwanda, so many people see the country as a very beautiful country. And many people might not know that Rwanda is the most densely populated country in Africa. Rwanda is a small country, but very powerful. Recently, there was a kind of agreement between the UK and Rwanda, where people go into the UK to look for, greener pastures were brought to Rwanda. Are you aware of that?
Of course I am, but the whole thing is they have not been brought to Rwanda yet.
Not yet.
At least that's one thing we can correct.
Okay.
And the second thing is, it's not Rwanda's business. It is UK's business. Rwanda offered to support with what we can. Now, whether it works or not, that's a UK business. It's not our business, really. So for us as a country, because we have been in a very delicate environment before. We have been refugees. Rwandans have been refugees. Rwandans have been in the midst of civil war and the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Rwandans have been abandoned by the international community before. Rwandans have been in isolation before. Being Rwandan has been an insult in many ways before.
Yes.
So when someone's dignity, when a human's dignity, now we were talking about human rights, but when a human's dignity, when a human being is living in a place, in a situation, in a circumstance that indignifies them, that makes them less dignified, takes away the dignity of being a human being. For us as Rwandans, we feel the person because we have been there. So that's why on all these kind of initiatives, not just the UK initiative, in 2018, when our president was head of the African Union, when he was chair of the African Union, we had this group of Africans who were stuck in Libya. Without anybody's funding, without anybody's push, on our own right as a country, the head of state and the leadership of the country said, you said we are a small country, yes. We are densely populated, but we said we have room for people.
What?
If they are getting stuck in Libya, we can move them. They moved, a number of them have been relocated, a number of them have found lives there, and they are moving on with their lives. And we believe we are not small at all.
Rwanda, do you have free accommodation for your citizens, and do you give your pregnant women and all the other people free money? Does something like that happen?
Social protection is very important to us.
What?
Yes, social protection is important. So a lot of people who have been living in high-risk zones have been relocated to better households or better housing. That has been happening over the last couple of years. If you talk about women and maternal health, we have brought the numbers really, really down. I think now it's less than 100 women die while giving birth. The same for child mortality. That has gone even much lower to about 20-something. So the numbers are very clear in terms of statistics. So social protection is very critical for us. Even the elderly. Those who are now in retirement, those who didn't have professional jobs for them to have pensions, we still take care of them because it is important. They are part of our society. They are, and I think Nelson Mandela put it very well at some point. A society's worth, their value, is seen in how they treat the most vulnerable among them. So yes.
Interesting. Okay, now I'm going to take you to 1994. We're not going to go too much into the details. Hutu, Tutsi, issues right there. Is it easy to see somebody and be able to tell that this is Hutu or this is Tutsi? Is it easy like that?
I can assure you, even those who assume they know us very well, if I put them on a street somewhere and people pass there, even back in 1994, they would not be able to identify that without faith, that wow. This one is Tutsi and this one is Hutu.
Wow.
That is why we had an identity card that had ethnicity on it.
Oh.
So when Belgians started to instigate this ethnic divide, well, all of us Africans are aware of this. The policy was divide and rule. You have got to have groups. Now, like I told you yesterday, Rwanda was a single nation state from 1024. Long before the white colonialists came to Africa. Long before. We were one nation state with one king. We all saw allegiance to one king. We all had the same culture. We spoke the same language. So we were literally one person. But of course, like every other community, people came from different places.
Oh.
Migration happens everywhere.
Oh.
People in Ghana were not from, if I was to go back to BC, they had not always lived here, but there was a season of migration, and people migrated and found themselves in a place, but they had already integrated enough to become a nation state by 1,000.
So by 1,000, which people were there?
Rwandans.
They were called Rwandans?
Yes, because they were part of the same kingdom called Rwanda, the Rwanda Kingdom. So they became Rwandans.
What was their local name?
So we had groups. They are not ethnicities.
Okay.
We had groups, socio-economic kind of stratas, even today, because we are a country that wants to operate with evidence.
That's right.
So people take time to do statistical evaluations to know who is in which category socioeconomically, so that they know which kind of policies and programs to implement. So from a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
So we had socioeconomic groups. Now, if you had a lot of cattle, because cattle was like a currency, yes, because you can easily convert it into anything. You can get milk from it, you can get manure from it. So if you had more cattle, you belong to a certain group.
Right. Oh.
And that was a Tutsi
Okay.
group.
So
it was a number of cattle, really. If you were a cultivator, you were an agronomist, you would belong to the Hutu group.
Okay.
And then if you were a hunter gatherer and you didn't live in you lived a more kind of like moving life, you became a Twa. Now,
Interesting.
when the Belgians came, like I mentioned to you, were colonized by Germany.
Yeah.
And after the World War, that's the First World War, we were given to Belgium as a protectorate. Okay? Now, when they came, they needed to make sure that they have a group that is above the rest, that they can work with, to be able to rule the others, because it's a divide and rule policy. That's African history. That's a history we all understand and share. Now, within this grouping of people who were the same, they had one king, they had one language, they had one cultural heritage. So it was not very easy to divide people. Now, they took what were socioeconomic classes, like I mentioned, and now affirmed them as ethnic groups. But because that could not stick, because you cannot divide people along socioeconomic indicators.
Yes.
Today I might have cattle, tomorrow they will die. Even a thunderstorm can kill all my animals and I'll have no cattle at all. So and according to Rwandan social culture, I would become Hutu because I don't have cattle anymore.
Yes.
Because these were fluid kind of classes. Today I would be this, tomorrow I can become something else because of what I own.
Yeah.
Because it was a socio-economic classification.
Classification, yes.
Now they took this, and to make it stick, they started issuing identity cards in 1926.
What?
Now, issuing identity cards that had ethnicity written on them. Why do you need to write ethnicity on an identity card if I can tell from what you look like?
Exactly.
Because you see, if I wanted to differentiate between you and another person from a different ethnic group, it suffices to just make you speak your native language. Right. Because your native language will be different from another group, right? Now, in Rwanda, if I asked you to speak your native language, we will all speak the same language. Kinyarwanda, all of us.
But interestingly, I mean, Hutus speak a different language, right?
No.
From Tutsis.
No.
It's the same Kinyarwanda.
All of us.
Oh,
same
my
language.
God.
That's why I'm telling you, it was one group of people.
Oh, my God. I was going to ask you then, how then do they have different languages if they were one group? Oh, my God.
Everybody speaks one language.
Oh, my God.
One single language.
So the same kind of people.
Yes. So to make ethnicity possible and be able to divide and rule, that's why the ethnicized national identity card was issued from 1926.
Interesting.
So you would get a national ID card on which they would write, this one belongs to this group. So that it is easy to identify. So I look at you, I can't tell. I ask you, can I have your national ID? So in 1994, during the genocide against the Tutsi, people would mount roadblocks and they would ask for identity cards to be able to differentiate who belongs where.
So it's a classism kind of system.
Yes, which was not necessarily an ethnicity.
This is 3FM.
It could never have been any ethnicity. Wow, I'm getting so educated today about this Rwandan story. Thank you so much, Matthew Rwahigi. Now, I mean, you speak so well, and you're training. You're supposed to be an advisor to the Rwandan embassy, right?
Yes.
What's your training like?
I'm a communications person. So I was trained, my training is a bit mixed up. I started off as a natural scientist, so I studied biology, and then I kind of deviated and became a communications person.
Wow.
So I have served in the humanitarian sector. I've been in, so now I'm diplomacy, so yeah.
If I was to go to Rwanda, where would you suggest I go to in Rwanda as a tourist to enjoy myself?
It's very hard for me to pick because Rwanda is a small piece of everything. And I always say, if you wanted to experience the whole of Africa, in one country. There are not many countries where you can do that, but you can do that in Rwanda. Because in Rwanda, you can have a safari tour and go to see the big five, the lions and the rhinos and the rest. You can go to a semi-arid kind of environment in Rwanda.
Yeah.
In Rwanda, you can go to a rainforest, dense, packed Nyungwe forest.
Interesting.
Now, in the same Rwanda, you can still go to a very beautiful lakeside area. You can still go to a lake shore in western Rwanda. That is in Kibuye and in Rubavu. Now, you can also still have a very chilly, mountainous climb in the volcanoes to go see the mountain gorillas, because we have the biggest number of the world's remaining mountain gorillas,
and they are endangered in the world.
Yes, the silverbacks. So,
interesting.
So you have almost everything you can find across the continent packed up in this little small piece of beauty. For real. So you can be able to get a piece of everything. So yes, depending on what you are interested in, your appetites will be met. And I think it's important for me to mention on this point that tourism is very critical and important for us. So we have invested greatly in tourism.
Wow.
So for the last, I think, half a decade, tourism has been our largest forex earner. So we earn most of our international revenues from tourism. So because of that, whatever is on offer continues to be refined. So the experience will be deeper, will be better every time you try it out.
Interesting.
Because there's more on offer through that.
Sex in Rwanda. What's prostitution like in Rwanda? Is it allowed?
No, it's not legalized.
What's the percentage? Is it happening?
Sex trade is the oldest trade in the world.
I like that.
No, so we all agree. I mean, I don't want.
This is 3FM.
Yes, it is.
Yes, but it's not something we promote. It's not something we give credence to. It's not practiced on a very large scale. So you will hardly find streets where you have sex workers.
Oh, yes. It's not easy to find those.
No, because it's not something that is allowed by law. So our law does not permit.
So if I go to Rwanda and I want the service of a woman, what do I do? Is there a phone line I can call some people, or is there a certain street I can go to? Is there a certain club? If I am that kind of person, what do I do?
So what happened to good natural courtship? What happened? Are you so vulnerable? And
this is 3FM.
Maybe I want fast food. Fast food.
Fast things kill fast.
3FM.
There's a brother here called Israel Mbonyi. And he says he wants to send his greetings to you.
Wow.
Yeah, is he somebody you know? Israel Mbonyi. Yes. He says, Blakk Rasta, tell Matthew that I love him so much. It's Israel Mbonyi. And many more. So many messages are coming up for you. A lot of messages. And we cannot look at all this.
We love
so
you back,
many
all
messages.
of you.
Yeah. All right. So we are going to close on this note. Here I have another guest. Oh, my God. I need 10 hours with you, Matthew. Trust me. Okay. So we're going back to Rwanda. Do you have bullet trains in Rwanda?
Not yet.
How about sky trains?
No, sir.
Do you do galamsey in Rwanda?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Yeah.
Why you don't have gold?
So our mining has made some very good strides. So like I said, we regulate things.
Yeah.
We are intentional.
Yeah.
As a country. And we have gold, yes, like you said, we even have a gold refinery, one of the best on the continent.
Wow.
So those of you who are in gold mining and you're looking for where to refine your gold so you don't send it to the Arabic Peninsula in crude, please send it to Rwanda, we'll refine it for you.
Wow.
The gold refinery is still yet to fill its capacity, so you can still be able to get that service from Rwanda.
Wow.
So what I was saying is in terms of our sectors, the regulatory environment is already set and it is monitored. And I often say, and this is just a statement, whatever you don't monitor, don't expect.
What?
So when you don't monitor something closely, do not expect it. You can't say because I have set a law in place, people will respect the law, even if I don't supervise and monitor the law. Not at all, because people will look for loopholes all the time. So monitoring and supervising is something that happens within our mining sector. So currently, all our minerals that go, and if you search on the internet, you'll tell, they're all tagged. They have electronic numbers. So you can tell when you buy gold anywhere in the world that is coming from Rwanda, it is tagged. You can trace it to where it has come from.
Oh my God. Yes. Interesting. Well, I think we will need to learn a lot of lessons from Rwanda. Yes, our junior brother Rwanda. Beautiful history, beautiful everything. And you all agree with me that we will need 20 hours to be able to talk and talk properly. And I'm looking forward to having Matthew again on this, thing. 2 hours non-stop, so that we'll have a beautiful conversation. I have so many questions to still ask, but I'm going to ask one more and I'll be done. As a Rasta man, is marijuana legalized in Rwanda?
For medical purposes. Yes.
Okay.
So it has a regulatory kind of environment around it. So, and it's mostly for export. We are not using it locally yet.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
They produce marijuana in Rwanda for export and for medical purposes. So if I want to plant marijuana, I can come to Rwanda,
you get
the license, permit, and plant it for export. But I can't smoke it in Rwanda.
No.
Interesting.
Yes. It's known for use at home.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Matthew Rwahigi, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, you are such an interesting person. I'm going to link up with you again, and we're going to be speaking again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you for having me.